Hello, everyone. It is great to have you on board. Welcome if you're in Poland or in Canada. It is fantastic to have you with us today. And we're going to have a very exciting, interesting 1 hour with all of you, and hopefully we'll have some really good time for questions as well. I will be your golden thread for the Canada and or the Poland program, as I have been the golden thread that is the facilitator for the Mexico and the US events. And I also have a lot of experience in mentoring, and I'm looking forward to sharing that experience with all of you. Today, we're going to see several things, and we're going to talk about what the 30% Club is all about, and how Moving Ahead came about, and what we're doing so far. Beyond that, I want to introduce you to Liz Demock, who is our CEO, and we will also have the opportunity to talk a little bit about the benefits and the impact of mentoring. And we have a special invite who is a mentee that's been in one of our programs, and she's now a program partner, and some time for Q&A. So without further ado, I would like to talk a little bit about Liz. She's our CEO of Moving Ahead. She actually created this company, to push forward gender equity. And she has a fascinating background besides, traveling throughout the world in her bicycle, and started out in banking. So without further ado, here is Liz Demock with us.
Thank you, Ben, and a very warm welcome to everybody to this 30% Club cross-company mentoring showcase event. So the aim for us today is that you learn about the 30% Club campaign, the power of mentoring, and how you can be part of the world's largest cross-company mentoring community of mentors and mentees. So thank you, Ben, for the kind intro. And as said, I'm Liz, founder and CEO of Moving Ahead and proud 30% Club steering committee member. So who are Moving Ahead? So we are really proud to deliver this cross-company mentoring program on behalf of the 30% Club. And it aligns brilliantly to our mission at Moving Ahead, which is to revolutionize the world's workplaces to become more diverse, equitable, and inclusive. So there's lots of chat, debate, discussion in the DE&I space. And we are really about tangible, practical, proven change, of which we've now evidenced over the many years on this program. So at Moving Ahead, we create change through the design and delivery and the craft of structured mentoring. How do you put two people together to learn and create change? And we do this in specific diversity strand, whether around race, but we also do it in specific industry sectors, the defense sector, the rail sector, sports sector, science sector. But this program is truly cross-sector, cross-company mentoring. So today I'm here to shine a spotlight on two things. The first is what I think is one of the most powerful levers in our collective global quest for gender diversity and high performance inclusive cultures, and also for our own personal quest to be the best version of ourselves as colleagues, as human beings, and as leaders. So that spotlight is on mentoring, and in particular, cross-company mentoring. And I'm also here to shine a spotlight on why we need programs like this. I think sometimes we are now in a bit of a risk zone that in many organizations we've been talking about and addressing gender for a number of years, but we are not there yet. So the statistics. So we know that women leaders are leaving companies at the highest rate in years, and the gap between women and men leaving is the largest it has ever been. That's through some global research from the Lean In Foundation. And globally, although the percentage of women on boards has inched closer to 20% in 2021, there are comparatively few female boards and chairs globally, and around 6.7% of them. And female CEOs are even rarer at around 5%. And I might add that some of you might be asking about 30% Club. What is that about? Do I have to hit 30? Is it a quota? No, it's not a quota. It is about 30% is the spirit and intention that 30% is the tipping point by which a minority voice is no longer a minority. So again, back to the stats and the why. So, and again, coming and zoning into those dialing in from Canada. So we are seeing that no companies in the TSX composite have an all male board. and a total representative of women on boards has reached 30% in 2021, and that's great. However, what we're seeing is that C-suite women in the TSX composite are sitting at around 20.5%, and they're seeing quite sort of slower progress and quite a slow pace of change now once we've hit that 20. And not a single large public Canadian firm has closed the gender pay gap in the last 6 years. And among Canada's largest companies, there are more CEOs named Michael than female CEOs. And then some of you dialing in from Poland, so I'm sort of doing the global stats, some Canada stats and Poland stats here. So among the 140 companies listed on the Warsaw Stock Exchange, the current share of women on boards, management and supervisory boards combined in 2022 was at 17.2%. So just some kind of headlines there. And we know that the pandemic has heightened all existing inequalities, as UN Women have evidenced. And that combined with sort of global workplace trends that we're seeing from Harvard Business Review is we're seeing quiet hiring. So organizations in this challenge for getting in talent, we're seeing a lot of tapping on the shoulder of expanding role opportunities and more. And also the pursuit of non-traditional candidates to expand talent pipelines. So again, that's why mentoring is so important. How do we ensure quiet talent is visible and that we are supporting the acceleration of diverse talent? But we're also seeing in the review, nearly half of colleagues are saying that they're finding that diversity initiatives can be divisive. So how they are implemented and this sort of more inclusive strategic approach that we are seeing landing well with programs like this is seen as really welcome. So that is why we need campaigns like this, and particularly mentoring programs like this. So I'm now going to hand over, so Ben is in the control seat, to Hanneke, who is the new global chair of the 30% Club. So I'm going to hand to Hanneke now to do a short couple of minutes about the campaign.
Welcome to the 30% Club. I'm Hanneke Smits, Global Chair of the campaign and CEO of BNY Mellon Investment Management. The 30% Club is a global initiative led by chairs and CEOs who are jointly committed to increasing gender diversity at the board and executive levels of companies across the world. I have seen firsthand the power that diverse perspectives can bring to all levels of organizations. Throughout my career, I've benefited from strong female role models and their support. And also, every time I've managed a diverse team, this has led to more robust discussions, decisions, and outcomes. And this is why I'm deeply committed to creating a more inclusive environment for all. The 30% Club sets a minimum target of 30% because this is the critical mass we need for minority voices to be heard. Diverse boards and C-suites are more likely to deliver better long-term outcomes for their people, clients, and communities. And to put it really simply, it's just good business. We've made a lot of progress in getting more women onto boards since we started in the UK in 2010. And in the UK, we're now at 40% of women on boards, but there's so much more to do because parity is what we're aiming for. And at the executive level, women's progress has been slow, but with your help, we can change that. Thank you to all of our existing members for your support so far. And I also hope that more CEOs and chairs will join our campaign.
Brilliant. Thank you, Hanneke. So the mentoring program is a core lever and strategic part of the mentoring of the aims of the 30% Club. And it started out with less than 10 organizations on this cross-company program that we're talking about today, and less than 100 mentors and mentees. Thank you, Ben, for pivoting with the slides. I know we're sort of working as we go together. So we Last year, we celebrated 10 years of the 30% Club cross-company mentoring program. And we've now supported, as you can see, a global community of more than 19,000 individuals across a huge range of organizations and sectors. And it's been a phenomenal privilege to be supporting that group. And so our aim and intention is that you join this community and group of leaders. And if we go to the next slide, we can see the organizations that have participated in this movement and campaign, ranges of sectors and regions. So again, standing amongst many different leaders. And we've heard over the years that, you know, I'm in a particular sector, there are particular challenges, but what happens when you're in those mentoring conversations across these organizations, true inspiration and growth comes from that. So the vision was and is to create impact at scale. And I'm delighted to say that's exactly what we've built. And again, if we look at our faculty slide, we bring together, and you're seeing Ben today, a whole host of speakers and leaders to also come forward in our events and programs to give you inspiration and education there as well. So why mentoring? What is the power of mentoring? Why are we putting that at the charge to create this change and build this pipeline? It's the oldest and simplest form of people development, with reference back to stories of Greek gods, with the first known mentor, Athena, the goddess of wisdom. It's the power of someone alongside you, cheering you, supporting you, no agenda when they're not in your own organization, learning together, unlearning together. And when it's done well, it creates a profound impact to individuals and organizations and society at large. And we're seeing real impact. So for example, we measure and track the impact and we report it to each organization on the program, but we're seeing data points of around 57% promotion and role advancement rates of individuals on the program. And so we see that we are building that pipeline of women into the executive and not leapfrogging onto board. So we're seeing a lot of board representation now, women, but actually that executive layer, we need to do the work. And that is what this program is addressing. So our research in partnership with Deloitte, and indeed our wider work, is telling us that this lever mentoring creates connection. I think it's so important in this hyper digital hybrid world that we're in, how we create true connection as human beings. It can bring forward our courage to declare our ambition. As Michael Cole-Fontaine, he was the former chairman of Bank of New York Mellon, would tell me, it was like allows you to declare your ambition. And I think even cross-company, when you're talking to that mentor, and even mentors are declaring their ambitions around even their onward growth, you can really share that. The two-way learning of people, whether that's from different racial backgrounds, socioeconomic backgrounds, sexual orientations, whatever your background, you're in that safe space to really learn, and that multi-generational perspective as well. And one of the things I particularly like about this program is that 2/3 of the mentors tend to be men by default of being in more senior roles. And we're truly, as organizations, engaging with men. And what they tell me as male leaders is they no longer feel like the token bystander. They feel that they can really be part of the conversation, that they genuinely can help, rather than being a cheerleader. So it provides that space. It brings a real pathway, I think, to creating high performance, inclusive cultures and performance cultures. So, and if I think about, you know, what mentors do and what is the magic in that mentoring, and it isn't, again, we train and we equip those mentors and mentees. When I listen to what it is from the mentees that they've done, they say that they've seen more in me than I see in myself. And we say that what we hear and say is that mentors really, really listen. So when we ask mentees, what does it feel like for your mentor when they're really listening to you, they feel that they can be ambitious, courageous, they feel valued, they feel heard, they feel understood. And then what that can achieve in terms of their onward success, it is amazing. I think mentoring also allows you to celebrate successes. We don't do this enough. Many of us, we just kind of get our head down and we work hard. We need to embrace the success, but also the setbacks, and learn from them too. And in many ways, they are like a personal trainer. So when you're building courage and when you're having setbacks and growing, you need to have that person alongside you. I think also it allows time to think. The management guru, Nancy Klein, talks about the quality of our actions depends on the quality of the thinking we do first. And mentoring absolutely creates that. And it expands our network. If we think how diverse the 5 people that you spend the most time with, seeking counsel from, advice and ideas from, this program can really expand the diversity of your network. So in a world where we want to support, attract and retain diverse talent, where we as leaders want to thrive, to learn and grow and navigate this uncertain world, we need to really step forward into these partnerships. So I invite you to be part of this movement, part of this campaign, and for yourselves and for your organizations. So in closing, before I hand over to the inimitable Kirk Vallis, Google's global lead of creativity and innovation, I'll leave you with a quote that I love from the late, great Jesse Owens. "We all have dreams, but in order to make dreams come into reality, it takes an awful lot of determination, dedication, self-discipline and effort, and I would add a mentor." Over to Kirk.
My name's Kirk Vallis, and I am Global Head of Creative Capability Development for Google. I am also fortunate enough to partner with other organisations all around the world, both in the elite business and elite sport, helping to just challenge creativity as a critical skill, regardless of our sector or our field. I'm here today to talk to you about just one of the many benefits and outcomes of a positive mentoring relationship and program, and it is that it drives and generates even more creativity and innovation within you and your organisation. Let's talk about creativity for a while, shall we? And particularly creativity as a critical everyday skill, regardless of our field or our organisation. The World Economic Forum's Future of Jobs study forecasts that creativity has become within the top 3 of the most demanded skills in the world. All the elite consultancy firms are concurring similar conclusions around creativity and its increased presence in human activity at work over the next 10 years. And Nesta, the innovation foundation that advises many governments on innovation within countries, their Future of Jobs study says that how automated our jobs will become in the next decade or so depends more than anything else on how much creativity is involved. More creativity means less ability to automate. So wherever we look, it's all saying the same stuff. Creativity is a vital skill, not just for when times are good or off-sites or things like that in the business world, but actually critical situations where we need some fresh thinking to solve the problems and the challenges that we're faced with every day. But the thing is, most people feel like they can't be creative at work. Some of this is down to leadership and being given permission to do things differently, to look at things in new ways, but often it's just down to us and our relationship with those words, innovation and creativity. They carry so much baggage. Think about creativity on its own. Almost all of us will have been badged as creative or not at some point in our lives. Probably at school, probably by a teacher, almost definitely by an out-of-date definition of what creativity means. For me, creativity is simply this: the mindset and habit of approaching our challenges in different ways with positive intent. Sounds easy, right? But unfortunately, fundamentally, we are hardwired not to think differently around our challenges, particularly within the fast-paced nature of everyday working environments. Whenever we are faced with a challenge, big or small, our brain's only goal in life is efficiency. And efficiency comes from past knowledge or experience or information around that challenge that we're faced with, or one a bit like it. Many deep experts and academics around how our brains work articulate this phenomenon in different ways, but I'm going to lean on the work of Edward de Bono, the godfather of lateral thinking, self-titled by the way, but fair play to him. He coined that expression, lateral thinking, and was articulating the relationship between how our brain works and creativity back in the 60s and 70s before technology proved him and other people correct. Many metaphors he's used around our brain and creativity. You may have read one of his best-selling books, Six Thinking Hats. But this is a very unknown metaphor of his, which I think is by far his most powerful. And it is this. Imagine the day you are born, your brain is a mountain, an untouched, unspoilt mountain. From that day onwards, every piece of knowledge, information, or experience that you have in your life is a raindrop falling on that mountain. Now, fast forward even a few years as a young child, you have acquired so much knowledge, information, and experience in your life. And because your brain is a self-organizing mechanism that looks and strives for efficiency, it starts to cluster those raindrops into areas of perceived similarity for ease of recall. He called this streams of consciousness. And fast forward 20, 30, 40 years that we're alive or more, and we have acquired so many raindrops of knowledge, information, experience, particularly around our areas of expertise, our family, our hobbies, where we come from, where we live, but guess what as well? Where we're paid to be experts, our profession, or the line of work that we do, or the part of the organization that we work within. So many raindrops, they are no longer streams of consciousness, they are rivers of thinking. And here's the thing, folks, rivers of thinking are brilliant if there is only one right answer. Or indeed if you want efficiency, of course. Because that one right answer is in there somewhere, and our brain's automatic ability to go and seek it, recall it, and use it is in there. However, whenever there is more than one potential correct answer, one way of dealing with a challenge, more than one approach that we could take to this situation, your rivers of thinking are terrible because your brain doesn't want to get out of them. But there's lots of ways in which we can get out of our rivers of thinking. And one of the easiest, and certainly one of the most fun and enjoyable for me, is mentoring. And why mentoring? Why is mentoring so powerful to help us and others to get out of our rivers of thinking whenever fresh options and ideas are required? Well, if we take the quote from Steve Jobs, which is, "There is no such thing as a new idea, just making fresh connections between stuff that already exists in our brain." Indeed, he was correct. That is how our brains work. We can't just have ideas or thoughts or stimulus from out in the ether. The ingredients have to exist somewhere in our brain. And if that's the case, well, guess what? Two brains will always be better than one. Because rather than just one store cupboard, one pantry, one larder, one refrigerator full of ingredients, we've now got two. And however close we are, however deep our expertise is or similar in the work that we do, those brains and the rivers of thinking will always be slightly different. Quick exercise to bring this to life. I simply want you to think of 3 words that come to mind when I say the word Sundays. Sunday, the day of the week. Which 3 words come to mind? Don't overthink it. The point is this, and if you're in a group, if you're watching this video in a group of other people, you might want to just shout out what some of those words are with each other. But the point I'm trying to make is this. Those 3 words will often be different. The chance of any 2 people watching this video having exactly the same 3 words is quite low. Because even around the same subject, a subject we are all familiar with, a day of the week, a typical day of the week, the ingredients in our head, our rivers of thinking around that word will be different. And that is the power of mentoring. Just the ability to look at a challenge, one that perhaps both people in the mentoring relationship face, we will all have a different perspective around it. And mentoring allows a mentee to use a mentor to just be able to get their perspective on a subject, an issue, a challenge that is from out of their river of thinking. So there we go, folks. Creativity, fast becoming the most demanded skill in the world of work. Creativity, simply our habit and mindset of approaching our challenges in different ways for positive intent. But recognize our brains are hardwired not to look for new and different potential solutions or stimulus to solve any situation we're in. And that is one of the many brilliant things about a mentoring relationship. The naive expertise that a mentor can bring to a mentee's situation. And by the way, vice versa. Some of the best mentoring relationships I've enjoyed have been where I have been the mentor and I've got tons back from my mentee as well around my perspective. I don't think these need to be a hierarchical relationship at all.
Welcome back, everyone. That was fantastic to listen to Kirk. You know what? I definitely want to be rained on, and I want to have mentors to swoosh around all that water that's going to make me a lot more creative and a lot more productive. So having said that, I want to make sure that I can share with you a couple of slides too and stay creative with you. So how does a program work? And we're going to start talking a little bit about that. Okay, now, what is involved in this program? Well, I want to start by telling you that Mission Gender Equity focuses on gender diversity, and it builds and strengthens the necessary pipelines to achieve parity of women in leadership roles in the organization. Okay, so that is key. And as we've heard from Kirk and also from Liz, fantastic tips from Liz as well, and I felt that passion about mentoring, okay, is how are you going to work through this? Okay, now the participating organizations, this is what makes it also not only a lot of fun, but very interesting. Okay, and the power of mentoring is actually even leverage or taken to the next level because participating organizations gain access to an energetic community that learn from each other. Okay, and they can be in different industries, different sectors, and even in different functions. And you'll see, and we'll talk more about it once we're in the mentoring programs. Okay, but we all work, and you all work on promoting equity, diversity, and inclusion. And that's what makes it wonderful, and it takes it to the next level. Now, the program works on an 8-month basis. It's an 8-month scheme, so to speak. And there's a series of learning events. There's 6 learning events in particular. 3 of them are an hour and a half, and they're very strong learning events with speakers and an opportunity for you to gain different insights. Okay? We do make sure that all of these people are not only thought-provoking, but also inspiring. And those are the beginning, the launch, the midway, and the close. And in between, okay, we have virtual workshops of about 60 minutes each. And I consider those to be very important because they're like master classes where you get to learn quite a bit on this. I hear everyone okay, by the way. I can hear a little bit of noise, but if everyone's fine, I will continue. We have great participation today. I wanted to share with you. I'm going to make this quick, brief pause. We have people from Poland, from Canada, different cities in Canada. We also have someone from Mexico, if I understand correctly. I was looking at the chat. So thank you for joining us. We've got, nearly 40 people today on this call. So thank you for being with us and being full on as well. Now, a very important part about what's involved in this mentoring program is the pairs that we create. In other words, the mentee mentors pairs connect. We ask them that they connect at least 5 times during the program. And we're very careful about how we match these people. At Moving Ahead, we pay a lot of attention to differences. And what we do is we've learned that the more different a mentee and a mentor are in terms of industry or function or background, the more powerful the mentoring journey is. And so we're very careful about the matching process. And sometimes some people may say, man, we're a little disappointed about, I was hoping I could match up with A or with B, but I can tell you that there's a lot of satisfaction when they come out of this program. Okay, so there's also a lot of material that we support you with and that you can work with throughout this 8th to 9th month journey. Now, the structure, And I mentioned a little bit, I want to again mention it because it's important that we get, making sure I admit everybody here. There we go. That you make and you carve out the time. Okay, for the launch, the three big ones, the 1.5 hour ones are the launch, the midway, and the close. Okay, and of course, then we have the master class 1 and the master class 2 in between of 60 minutes. And we have the partner forums, and we always look for feedback. We love feedback because we incorporate it in the program and we make sure that we are improving as we go along. Okay, not only based on the historical progress we've made, but also with a specific program that we have. With you being Poland and being Canada, there will be some differences that we want to maximize on and take advantage of as well. Okay, let me talk to you about the role of mentees. Okay? Very important. What we ask mentees in this program is for them to take ownership of this mentoring journey. They will drive the relationship. And so we're starting to teach them how to be leaders, how to reach out, how to really behave assertively within their organizations. But they're going to get that support, okay, and that safety from their mentors. Okay, and they're going to feel a lot more comfortable. And remember, it's going to help those mentees, those conversations with the mentors will help them, okay, plan on the one hand, yes. It will also help them think, act, and then reflect on what they're achieving. Okay, but as you see in the circle, and I don't want to go all over it, but here the key is that the mentees really are the ones that take really the guiding role, not the guiding role, I'm sorry, the leading role in terms of having ownership and making sure that the mentorship journey moves forward. And sometimes that's a little tough for mentors because mentors tend to be leaders. Let me go back to the mentees. Mentees are high potential women, all of them. And we'll talk a little bit about mentors. Okay, but like I said, the mentors have a lot of experience, okay, as opposed to the mentees. Okay, so but here, first experience is to take charge. So let us talk about the role of mentors. Okay. The mentors usually are experienced leaders that have had about 15 plus years of leadership roles within their organizations. They may be women or men, okay, that are also looking to develop other people. And it will also help them in their leadership. But very importantly, they want to grow and develop new leaders through this mentorship program. And like I said, it may be from different organizations or even different industry, different roles. Okay. Now, the mentor's role is to ask really great, insightful questions, to listen, actively listen, okay, and to clarify, okay, with the mentee, whatever that mentee wants to achieve and get to and where they want to grow. Now, very important about the mentors, they create this safe space for the mentees to grow and develop, but they also become allies and they become advocates of these mentees. Okay. And I always tell mentors when I go through this program that they should take advantage of what they can learn from the mentees. And we talk about reverse mentoring. And I know I have learned as a mentor, I have learned a lot from my mentees. Some have taught me some simple things about maybe publishing on social media. Others have taught me how to raise funds with venture capital firms, because although I've known how to grow and actually create companies and grow and develop people, I've never really had to raise funds. So you never know what you can learn from your mentees. Okay. And yes, as mentors, we will challenge our mentees and we'll push them outside of their comfort zone, but always making sure that we are their safety net. Now, I want to share with you today, we have a special invite, and I'm very excited about having our invite here with us. It's Besarta Osmani, and she has been a mentee in previous programs. And now, by the way, she is a program partner at Atlas Air. And she's leading, by the way, although her title is manager, always think of each and every one of you as leaders. And she's the leader of learning and development in Atlas Air. So I want to introduce you to Basarta to come on with me. Let me stop sharing so she can come on board, and I will ask her a couple of questions and make this a lot of fun and leave it open also for you to open some questions. Basarta, how are you? It's so nice to have you on board. Thank you for being here with us and for sharing your experiences with both Canada, Poland, and Mexico.
Hello, Ben, and hello, everyone. It's wonderful to be here with all of you today. And it's so exciting to see that so many of you are joining this initiative. It is a fantastic way to really make an impact and to be change agents.
Well, that's fantastic. So, Mr. Sarda, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us what mentoring the program has really been to you, and why did you want to take part of it in the beginning?
Sure. I'm Basarta Osmani. My role in Atlas Air Worldwide is a manager of learning and development department. I operate in a team of 2 team members, so a very small department. And historically, the 30% Club what was something new. My organization didn't really know about it until the year of 2020. That's when our head of HR introduced this program to our organization, and we have been participating ever since then. It has been an incredible program for both of our mentees and mentors. So I began learning about the 30% Club, and then moving ahead by really supporting our mentees and mentors as a program partner. And to me, it was such an incredible idea to know that there is this opportunity out there for participating members to be partnered with cross-company mentors and mentees. My organization is somewhat small in numbers, to 2,000 and plus on the supporting staff, on the supporting functions side of the business. So I could understand that someone may have a hesitance perhaps to find or to be mentored by someone internally. So having an external mentor was just a great idea. Then I decided to just continue to be more invested in the program by truly serving our participants to the levels that they really needed, and staying connected to moving ahead to address any issues that may come up, or celebrate successes and share good information as it came through. I always found a lot of help through moving ahead, and a lot of fun and joy partnering together. And then it was through my connections, actually, that an opportunity came up for me to participate as a mentee. And that took place last year. In a heartbeat, I said yes. And I know we're going to talk a little bit more about that experience.
Yes. You just gave me the entry point. Thank you so much, Basarta, for sharing. And then let me ask you, what surprised you most about your mentoring journey? And not only what surprised you most, but what did you find most difficult?
Yeah. So my mentor was from an HR consulting company. The name is Liz Langell. And fortunately for us, she wasn't too far from me geographically. What surprised me the most initially was that she immediately sent me the welcoming note. She did not wait for me to reach out. In fact, she beat me to that. So I thought, oh, wow, this is fantastic. And her note was very welcoming and very inviting. And then we got on. And in fact, it even included details around where she lives. And she said, you know what, can we meet in Connecticut? Can we meet in New York? Let's do our first meeting in person or second meeting in person. I said, wow, she's really invested in this from the very beginning. What also surprised me about my relationship with my mentor was that she did specify that she was a mentee in prior years, and she gained a lot of value and benefit from this program. And now she achieved, through higher ranks in her career, and she wanted to pay it forward. And that was so authentic. It was so genuine, and I could see she really demonstrated that throughout all of our interactions. So very welcoming, very inviting. She was open to discuss about any topics. What was difficult, and sometimes the scheduling can get a little bit difficult, but I learned to manage that well from the beginning by booking 2 or 3 meetings in advance and being proactive that way.
Thank you, Sarta. We have time for 2 more questions from me, and then I'll open it up to the public, by the way, to our audience. And one of them is, what impact do you think mentoring has had on your career thus far?
Sure. So, and by the way, I've had prior mentors as well, not at Atlas Air, but in my prior organization, which was Citigroup, and I've had success. So I approached the relationship with that mindset. I know sometimes mentoring relationships may not work so well, but there are definitely many times where they can. So I had a very positive mindset for that. And the impact for me, especially with my relationship with Liz, I believe it has really helped me how to ask better questions and have better conversations at work, especially as they relate to conversations about goals and promotions, and even identifying valuable areas of work versus trying to really eliminating non-value added work. So even having those kinds of conversations, which sometimes we shy away from. Additionally, it really has had an impact on me in the areas of networking and relationship building. And my mentors have been able to let me know that those are really your strengths, and power them up. These are the many different ways you can continue to power up your strengths and differentiate yourself.
Thank you. Wow, that great insight. Thank you. One last question is, and we have 1 minute, is as program partner on this 2023 US program that you're participating in, why is Atlas Air participating?
Sure. And for those of you who don't know, Atlas Air is in the cargo and freight business. So we are not a traditional airline, but we do have a small passenger market that is for mostly for VIP passengers. So we fly all types of goods in the world. Especially for in March, we flew many flowers all over the world. So it's an incredible organization. This program, it continues to be of interest to Atlas because we are a young company. We have only been in the business for 30 years, and we have not really had such great foundational programs in the organization. Then additionally, our participants, both mentors and mentees, continue to emphasize how valuable and incredible this program has been. Yes, there could be challenges, and yes, there could be sometimes pain points in trying to work out the connections, but as soon as those are over, they all come back and they do share really good stories. So believe for Atlas, it has given them a door to a whole new horizon that they just did not really knew it existed before.
Okay. Thank you, Basarta. Thank you so much. Please don't go. I want to open it up for questions, and we can either have the question come through the chat, or if somebody wants to open their mic, please feel free. And we have about 5 minutes, I should say about, 5 minutes of questions and answers for you. And that would be great, if you don't mind. So do we have any questions? I'm gonna look, oh, and by the way, let me correct myself. I stand corrected, Basarta. The questions can be for you or for anybody on the Moving Ahead staff as well. Okay. So let's see if we have, let me call out one of the questions, if you don't mind. There is Jane. Thank you for asking. Jane Young says, I imagine there's a cost to participating and hope this info will be covered during this presentation. Okay, and there's an answer from Rebecca Davis to everyone on the chat. So I won't repeat it, but there is a cost, and it's very specific in Canadian dollars and in euros as well. So thank you for asking that question, Jane. Any other questions for Basarta or for Liz or for me or for anyone in the Moving Ahead organization? We'll be happy to respond to them.
Hi Ben, it's Rebecca Davies. Can everyone hear me? Hi. Yeah, just there was another great question which was around the participation from a mentor or mentee perspective. So we are looking for organizations to sign up. So we want strategic engagement from companies. So each company would put forward an equal number of mentors and mentees. Unfortunately, it's not something that's open to individuals at this time. Yes, and I've seen a question around whether the program runs in cohorts every year, and yes, it does. So our intention is that we will launch this annually each year. So for the cohorts that we already have running in the UK, the US, Mexico, so the UK being a great example, in the first year it was actually sponsored by EY, and we now launch annually in November each year. So and that's where Liz was saying we started with the 8 companies taking part, and that's what we were looking to achieve from the start from today, is that we want that initial founding group of companies. And one of my colleagues has just said my camera's off. I have a poorly baby on my lap, so that's why I've kept my camera off, because unfortunately I have a sick baby at home with me at the moment. So I thought people don't need to see that. So yeah, sorry for not having my camera on.
No, Rebecca, it's great. We talk about being vulnerable in this mentoring program, and thank you for sharing that vulnerability that we're all exposed to. So thank you so much, and thank you for sharing. It makes us. And I'm see if there's any other questions on the chat. I want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to talk about that. Let's see. If you are a mentor mentee, will you be paired with someone in your country, or will they potentially be in another country? That's a very good question. Does anybody want to take that? I can answer it, but if Liz, take it, Rebecca.
I'm happy to go, and Liz can join in. So yeah, our intention, so for we're planning to launch in both Canada and Poland as our next regions for the 30% Club community, and they will each be launched independently. So if you join the Canadian program, for the first year, you'll be matched within your country. And we've done exactly the same in the UK and the US. The UK program, a decade later, is now so established. We actually have organisations that are putting forward global kind of representation onto those programs, but we want to for the first couple of years really establish this, create that brilliant community of organisations and participants. So yeah, another good question. You'll be within country for the first year, and the matching is quite a science. We have technology that supports us. We also work as a committee and review those. Each of your organisations has a kind of key contact that we work with that supports in that matching as well. And we consider everything from your mentoring objectives, your learning styles, your core values. We read your biographies. So there's quite a lot of information that we source from you, and then to create those matches. And on the 30% Club programs that we deliver in different places around the world, the matching is rated incredibly strong. And I think that's, because we get such high engagement, I think, and commitment from the organisations. And that's why we want to keep that kind of strategic engagement from companies signing up versus having an individual participation.
Yes, thank you so much, Rebecca. And here's another question from Haley Niven. I hope I pronounced that correctly. So are you looking for both mentees and mentors to be part of this program, or have you selected mentors already? That's a really good question. So again, Liz or Rebecca, or I can answer it too.
Maybe hand to Liz because she's with her camera. Or she's coming with me. I'll answer. So yes, it is both mentors and mentees. So how it works is each company needs to put forward an equal number of both mentees and mentors. So usually, the starting point is 10 pairs. But, again, we have organizations. I saw KPMG were on the line. They've had cohorts of 50 pairs taking part before in the UK. So, the entry level is typically 10 mentors and 10 mentees. So the mentees will all identify as women, and we will support you with a selection strategy. So, how are we going to identify the right kind of audience based on, where we are within our organization. So, this is a kind of short event today to sort of plant that seed. That the next step is what we'll be writing. We would love to have one-to-one conversations with each of you, and we can, share more detail about this and really work with you on how this can complement anything that's existing already in your organization to kind of achieve your objectives in this space.
Yeah. And just to build on that, Bex and Ben, I think what I can proudly say the Moving Ahead team have learned over the years is really partnering with you in each organization to understand where you're at. So it's meeting you where you are on your D&I journey, because some of you will be feeling like we're so far off, and that's okay. Some of you will be doing lots of things. So how does it sit? How do you position it to your employees? How do you as a prospective program partner, like our contact point, how do we support you? So all of that, again, bringing 10 years of now working with over 600 organizations on this, how we bring that knowledge to you is really important. How you select, nominate, invite mentors, mentees, all of those different parts are really important, and you'll all have loads of really good questions, but often there is we're so far behind, or we're doing lots of things, how does it fit in? So we can really work with you on that.
Yeah. And I'd like to add to what Liz said and Rebecca, is that program partners are key, and you mentioned it, but they're key because not only are they able to share, but they also find themselves very surprised in terms of the participation of within the organization of people that want to be mentors and mentees as well. And I've heard this from the program partners. It's like, wow, we never expected this kind of involvement or engagement. So you get a lot of interesting engagement that you weren't expecting, because you'd be surprised. There's a lot more people than you think that are truly believers and advocates of equity, inclusion, and diversity. Would you agree with that, Liz and Rebecca and Ambasarta as well?
Absolutely. I think it's so additive to, it's beyond that. So the program partners, again, your careers, your progression, being part of a community where you can learn from fellow organizations what they're doing, learning from the mentor-mentee feedback, and there's just so much more than beyond that kind of mentoring magic that goes on. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Well, thank you. I don't think we have any more questions, so I'm gonna share the last couple of slides, and we're gonna close. Okay, and if you can see my slide, hoping you are. So what would be next steps? And some of the questions came up, but what I encourage you to do, please, and you're probably the program partner, in whether you are in Poland or Canada or Mexico or wherever you are. I know I saw someone from the UK as well. They've been in the program for over 7 years already, and excited to be with us again. And so please make sure to schedule the one-on-one with us, with the Moving Ahead team. And we'd love to have your company's participation. Why? Because it enriches the entire process and mentoring program. And the more people we have in this wonderful world network, the more we're going to make a difference, or the faster we're going to make it. The higher the impact and the faster the impact. And true, yes. And a response to the first question is, you'll start thinking about and identifying who are your high potential women in your organization? Who could be your mentors? Those men and women that are already leaders that they want to make a difference and pay it forward. Okay. So ready for this initiative. Please take note of the email below. Veronica Malenga, one of my associates and colleagues. She does a wonderful job. She's extremely responsive, and and the entire team is, by the way, based in the UK. They're actually based in different parts of some of them are based in Buenos Aires, Argentina. Some of them are in the US. Some of them or some of us, in Mexico, the US, and in the UK. So take advantage of that great diversity that we already have to offer. And having said that, I really want you to work with us with Moving Ahead. And why? Because together we can make a difference. Thank you so much for being here with us. Liz, it's wonderful to have you here with us. Rebecca, thank you for being with us. Also, Bisarta, thank you for sharing your insights. Veronica, I know you're behind the scenes, as well as Michelle. I can't tell you how much you appreciate. And for the 37 people that were with us throughout the world, in Poland and Canada and Mexico and the UK, US, if I missed somebody, my apologies. Thank you. Have a wonderful evening or afternoon, and hopefully weekend. Okay. All the best.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, everybody.